This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, Ash and Team Valor. A few months have passed since present Pan's birth, and during this time, Pan and Gohan have cut down on their training to help out with the new baby, with the future version of the newborn more or less taking up residency in their home. Thankfully, they're not the only ones, as Hercule and Chi-Chi are quick to add their support, taking well to the doting grandparents role, a fact made easier for Chi-Chi as she has had over a decade with future Pan to practice, while in turn, Hercule has at last let in on the identity of Gohan's quote-unquote cousin, now that he can't do any harm, with him blustering that he always liked her, and is glad to know little Pan will grow up to be strong and beautiful just like her mother. The final familial assistant is none other than Pickled, who frequently visits with helpful baby supplies, stating that he could hear baby Pan's cries from Yunzabit heights, with Gohan and Dill being deeply grateful for his aid, especially since unlike the others, he does not linger, only coming as he is needed, and otherwise giving the new parents some alone time with their infant daughter. During the times he is not needed, he instead takes Gohan and Pan's place in Capsule Corp training under Whis, alongside Goku and Vegeta, with Goten and Trunks soon following suit, so that while they are not as strong as the elder hybrids, the two full-blood Saiyans do still have training partners to push them in their growth. Speaking of growth, Gohan and Pan have not entirely slacked off, with them still sparring frequently, a fact which delights baby Pan, as watching her dad fight is one of her favourite activities, a fact which makes the elder Pan wistful, as she remembers how much awe she felt when her version of Gohan would train with Trunks. In fact, the presence of baby Pan has had the future variant reflecting on many aspects of her life lately, with no question weighing on her more than if she still has a place in this timeline. While she still wants to be there for her friends and family, she stayed in the past because Gohan and Chi-Chi needed her. That is no longer the case, and she worries what sort of shadow she may unintentionally cast for her present counterpart, thinking of both present Trunks, who has been linked inextricably to his future counterpart, with this being clearest in his father's continued disdain for him, and of future Trunks, the brother she has not seen in years, and who may need her help upholding the peace in their world, as she has no doubt that he was able to destroy the androids and return the planet to a state of normality that she would quite like to see for herself someday. However, before she can make any decision on the matter, something comes along to draw her focus, that being the sudden darkening of the sky one day while she is babysitting her younger self, so Gohan and Videl can do some shopping. Figuring it must be one of her friends making a wish on Shenron, Pan calls Capsule Corp to ask who it is and why, though on the other end, Trunks informs her that it's none of them, having assumed she or maybe Gohan was using the Dragon Balls, something she assures him is not the case. This causes a troubled silence to hang between master and pupil, that is until Piccolo takes hold of the receiver, growling in that gravelly voice of his that though they shouldn't jump to conclusions about the intent of this mystery wish, something tells him they're in trouble. Meanwhile, out in space, Frieza has been revived and now plots his vengeance, doing something he never thought he would, with that being training. So that in what seems like the blink of an eye, 4 months pass, leading to the day the Tyrant begins his invasion of Earth alongside 1,000 soldiers. Unfortunately for Frieza, he is faced with much steeper opposition than in canon. There's not only a Goku and Vegeta on planet waiting for him, having received Jaco's warning, but due to heeding Piccolo's advice, Gohan and Pan have worked hard over the last few months to catch up to the other Saiyans, meaning there are now 4 among their number capable of utilizing Super Saiyan Blue, as well as 2 new gods in the forms of Goten and Trunks. With this in mind, Frieza's soldiers do not stand a chance, with even his best like Tagum and Sorbet falling to the boys, who are competing to see how many bad guys they can beat, while the adults including Piccolo and the Earthlings close in on the Emperor. Seeing that he cannot play with his food, Frieza transforms right into Golden Frieza, monologuing all the while about how he intends to kill them all, with especially torturous deaths awaiting Goku and Trunks. That is until he receives a fist to the face in the form of a Super Saiyan Blue Pan, who wishes to protect both her grandpa and student, with Gohan as her closest combat partner capitalizing on the opening she has provided, in order to catch the Emperor with a flying kick that sends him crashing into the waiting arms of Goku. From here it becomes something of a repeat from Namek, as Goku wails on Frieza until the stamina drain from the form forces the golden purple alien to revert to his regular state, while leaving him fatigued and vulnerable. Now the only question is who will finish this monster off, with Vegeta belligerently attempting to lay claim to the honor, as he is yet to have his revenge on the being that tormented and oppressed him for more than 20 years. Letting some of her own bias against the man override her better judgment, Pan refutes this, stating that he barely even helped, so he doesn't deserve to take the win, with this seeing them begin to bicker. All the while, Frieza readies one final blast, intent on destroying this world and all his enemies with it, since while it is not the victory he wanted, it is a victory all the same, which is all that really matters. Thankfully, Thankfully, there is one Saiyan with enough sense to see what their enemy is doing, and so cutting the Gordian knot, Trunks takes it upon himself to destroy the tyrant before he can unleash his attack. Naturally, this angers Goku, Goten, and Vegeta, with the former pair whining that wasn't fair, as they hadn't reached a decision yet, while the prince snarls at the boy for what he deems underhanded cowardice. However, in a tone that reminds all assembled exactly whose son he is, Trunks disdainfully retorts that he doesn't need or want his old man's approval, before repeating a lesson Pan had taught him, which had been passed down to her by future Gohan and Trunks, that the only good enemy is a dead enemy, so if a chance for victory arises, take it. In that moment, Pan can almost see the silhouette of her mentor in the boy's face, with it striking her that this Trunks is about the same age her Trunks was when he began training her. Understandably, this causes her prime musings to resurface, though like before, something comes along to draw her attention, with it this time being the celebration of their victory, and the return to training and helping with her baby self. For a time, life returns to normal, or at least as normal as things can be for a family of humans, aliens, and time travelers, so that no one notices as several more uneventful months slip away, until suddenly Earth receives a trio of visitors, one of whom the Z-Fighters know, that being an irate Beerus, while the others are what appear to be the god's pudgy doppelganger and a female Whis. Making the necessary introductions, the Universe 7 Angel reveals that they are his and Lord Beerus' siblings, Vados and Champa, with Beerus angrily adding that he had to host those two on his own, since his supposed attendant has been down here on Earth playing with mortals. In a pacifying tone, Whis explains that this is not all he has been doing, as he's also scattered numerous Earth delicacies for his master, drawing several takeaway boxes out of his staff and presenting them to the cat. As he hoped, this does calm Beerus' rage, even if he begrudges sharing his haul with Champa, though this good deed comes with very bad consequences, as Champa demands that Beerus give him Earth and all its tasty food, since his version of the planet is a charred husk, with nothing to eat but ashes. Naturally, Beerus refuses, with the two destroyers preparing to fight, though knowing how devastating this could be for the planet and even the solar system, the pair of angels propose a tournament instead, in which they will each have champions representing them. Deeming this acceptable, as it will mean they get to watch some good fights, the brothers then part ways, vowing to meet again on the World of Void, though when Champa is gone, Beerus levels a stern glare at his attendant, ordering him to whip his Saiyans into shape, since he is not losing to that bloated oaf. And so it is that 5 days later, after some rigorous training, Team Universe 7, headed by Beerus and Whis, depart to the aforementioned World of Void. Due to having a baby and work he needs to catch up on, Gohan declines to participate, though this is not an issue, as Goku, Vegeta, and Pan are all ready to step up, while Goten and Trunks fill the final 2 spots, since both Goku and Pan vouch for them in a 2-to-1 vote against the Prince. When they arrive, the Universe 7 Saiyans are surprised to learn that 3 of Champa's 5 are also Saiyans, with Kaba being present like in canon, while Cal and Caulifla replace Magetta and Batamo, due to Champa declaring that since Beerus has 1 female Saiyan on his team, he must have 2. However, instead of the fierce enmity displayed between the brothers, when the 2 groups of Saiyans meet, Pan and Caulifla hit it off at once, both being fiery and determined fighters. As a result, they are slated as the first to fight, with Pan deciding to start off easy with just Super Saiyan, though to her shock, Caulifla has never heard of the form, with it falling to Pan to try and coach her new friendly rival. Having experience with Goten and Trunks, this is an eminently manageable feat, which sees the Universe 6 warrior soon adorned with golden hair and turquoise eyes. This at last allows the pair to have some fun, gauging each other's strength and getting a chance to flex their muscles, both literally and figuratively. Nonetheless, even if Caulifla is gifted, she is not on the level of one who trains with angels and gods, meaning all it takes is a quick flicker of Super Saiyan Blue to knock the wild-haired woman out of the ring, bringing the first victory home for the 7th. Unfortunately, this comes with consequences, namely a very jealous Cal going berserk not long into their match, due to both concern for Caulifla after the hit she took, and fear that this interloper might take away the person dearest to her. At once, the tide turns, with Pan's blue power being no match for the crazed green-haired Goliath Cal has become, as she decimates the future dweller, until Pan finally taps out, with even this not being enough, as it takes a cry from Caulifla to stop Cal from snapping the prone Pan like a twig. Next up for Universe 7 is Goten, having won the rock paper scissors against Trunks. Unluckily for him, due to having reverted from a berserk state, Cal is far too timid and ashamed of herself to give him much of a fight, meaning he more or less wins by default, as Cal apologizes for wasting his time as she scurries back to her team area. Following this, Frost assumes the position as Universe 6's 3rd fighter, using his poison trick to easily eliminate Goten, though when Trunks rises to avenge his buddy, Vegeta bodily shoves him back into a sitting position, barking that there's no way he's letting the boy steal yet another victory over Frieza from him. Tentatively, Frost attempts to interject that he does not know any Frieza, though before he can get through the first word, a brutal punch sees him crashing back into the stands, as Vegeta pulses with blue godly light, having held nothing back. Following this is Vegeta vs. Kaba. Though having no paternal feelings or instincts due to his overtly antagonistic relationship with his son, the prince does not attempt to mentor the other Saiyan, instead simply one-shotting him like he did Frost, before ordering the final Universe 6 fighter to come down here so he can claim his third easy victory. However, this is easier said than done, as his final opponent is none other than the intergalactic assassin Hit, whose mastery over time allows him to treat Vegeta to the same humiliating defeat he handed to Frost and Kaba, meaning now the main event begins, Goku and Hit in a climactic clash for the sake of the Earth. This match more or less plays out like in canon, except that Goku is a bit stronger due to his training partners throughout the years allowing him to reach higher highs. This includes unveiling the Blue Kaioken, which pushes Hit considerably, though even still, it is not enough to force the priapic Hitman to use his full power, with Hit admitting that to do so would mean Goku's death. Eager to see this for himself, the Saiyan pleads with the gods to remove the no-killing rule so that he and Hit may fight seriously, though this is flatly denied as the two destroyers squabble, causing Goku to decide that they're really just pawns in this whole game, so he's gonna bow out, though he hopes Hit will fight him for real sometime. He then leaps out of the ring, meaning the fate of the 7th now lies entirely with Trunks. However, despite the seemingly unfair matchup, Trunks has a shockingly easy time, as when he throws his first punch, Hit somewhat unconvincingly staggers before tumbling off the side of the ring, an evident act of rebellion against Champa, as well as one of solidarity with Goku, which results in Trunks being heralded as the ultimate winner and being lifted onto Goku and Pan's shoulders, while Goten cheers his best buddy on. Thanks to this upset victory, it is decided that Earth will remain in Universe 7, a decree backed by none other than the Omni King, as he appears and praises the fighters for their acumen. This results in him still striking up his friendship with Goku, though this time he also develops a similar bond with Goten, who joins his father in casually conversing with the mini-monarch, meaning that Zeno leaves quite happy, as he now has two new friends who promise to come play with him sometime. Following this, Beerus' wish to restore Universe 6's Earth is made on the Super Dragon Balls, though he does not reveal this good deed at the time, instead departing with a subtle satisfaction in knowing he helped his brother, even if he is a posturing buffoon. Instead, he simply tells his team to follow him if they don't want to be left behind, proving himself just as irascible as ever, with the delegation from the 7th all gathering around Whis as he begins transporting them back to Earth. However, unbeknownst to them, their actions have not gone unnoticed, as in another universe, a certain green-skinned Kai has been watching the tournament on GodTube, though rather than being impressed by the feats of martial arts he has just witnessed, he is instead disgusted that mortals would so wantonly profane the gods. Such blasphemy cannot be allowed to stand, though to destroy them, he will require a more powerful vessel, and thankfully, he knows just the one he wants. And that's where we'll leave things for now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts, suggestions, or screams of rage in the comments below.